Hi there, Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter. I've been kind of into card making lately, and I thought I would share a hack that I discovered today. This is a gel plate. It's just your gel press printing plate, either gel press or Jelly Arts. And I'd seen a product called a stencil mat, and I was wondering if this would work the same. So I just put my cardstock down on the gel plate and it sticks. This is a clean gel plate. And then I'm going to stick a stencil down on top. And look, this holds a stencil as well. So I'm just going to take a couple colors of ink. I've got some turquoise here and a big old brush. And this is going to hold my stencil. Okay, I don't even have to hold it down, and my paper really well. So I don't have to hold it. Isn't that crazy? Let's see, how do I want to do this? I think I'm going to leave the paper there and I'm going to shift my stencil. Oh my gosh, look how nice that looks. But I think I want to do some like multi-toned inking. So I'm going to move that over. I'm going to take some green. This is so nice. It holds it perfectly. And if you have a gel plate already, then you're good to go. Now, if you don't have a gel plate, I wouldn't buy one just for this technique. I know Waffle Flower makes something called a stencil mat, which is like a really thin gel plate, so it's going to be cheaper than buying a gel plate. But if you've got one already and you want to get a little more bang for your crafty buck, give it a try. I really think it's a wonderful way to get a little bit more use out of the stuff you already have. Let's see how that looks. Oh, that's so pretty. And I think I want to give like another layer of color. I'm going to go find actually I'll just keep using this. There's turquoise ink, I think. I'll start over here. I'm just going to go over the entire thing just to give it a full color. Start my color in at the edge so it's not too bold in the middle, although I might cut this up. This is a half sheet of cardstock, so I probably wouldn't use this whole big piece anywhere, but I think that is so pretty. Maybe I'll do it one more time, go in the opposite direction maybe. Wonder what that would look like. Go in the opposite direction, do a darker green. Oops, now it's, you know what, you gotta make sure you press that stencil down. I think the ink I had on there from doing the color might have made it shift a little bit. Because when you layer up your stencils, you move them around, you layer up other stencils on top of stencils, you can get totally different looks and vibes from the same stuff you've had in your stash for ages. So that's nice. It's nice when you can get more bang for your buck, when you can get more ideas and looks for the stuff you've already bought. And when you can find new ways to use your tools. It's all good. All right, let's take a look at that. Oh, I think that looks so cool. So there you have it, and it's pretty much non-mess. It's not as messy as, say, doing jelly printing, and I think that looks really cool. Another thing you can do is, and I'm just going to wipe this off really quick, is do a little stamping and stenciling. So I've already done a couple steps ahead of time, so I'm going to share this little piece that I just stamped and stenciled. I've had this kit for quite a while. I used the set in my watercolor playdate class I did with Altenew. This is their Freesia Blossom, I think that's the name of it, their Blossom Freesia set, and it comes with stamps, dies, and stencils. And the stencils were always really confusing to me. So what I did was I took a quarter sheet of cardstock and I put this stencil down here on my paper and I sprayed it with Distress ink. And I wiped up the extra ink off my plate there. And then I stamped it very carefully with a coordinating stamp. And that had to dry, so you got to make sure you let that dry. I'm going to try to find a clean finger here to press that down. Press it down with the back of my hand. And now there are stencils to help you color the image. So the stencils have 1, 2, 3 up in the corner. So this is stencil 1. And I'm showing you this with the background colored because it's just a little easier to line things up, and I'm going to try to keep my head out of the way. But you line it up so some of the portions are showing through the openings. It's kind of confusing until you've done it once. I just did it so I could kind of orient myself before I did this little video here. And the mat is going to grip my stencil, which is awesome. Hopefully I probably should have washed the outside of that mat a little bit better before I did this, because I might be getting some ink on the underside of that stencil, which wouldn't be great, but you'll get the gist. Now I'm going to take these blending brushes, I'm going to take some yellow, and I'm just going to go over here. Oh, I had a little bit of red and coral on the pad on the stencil before, so that's alright. That's just going to give me some natural shading. And then I'm going to shift it over to the next part. And the next part, there's little etchings that show you that you line up with the previous pieces, so you kind of know where it's supposed to go. Not that I'm an expert with these things at all, but I did get a little bit off on some of my other ones, so I'm trying to do a little bit better of a job this time without sticking my head in the way. And again, I'm just going to take that yellow because I might have enough color, other colors on this stencil that I don't need to add in any of my darker colors. Just want to get a variety. Maybe I'll do a little bit of this red in there too. You do want to clean your stencils when you're done your project, because ink will transfer onto the next thing. You can start to see the picture coming together here. Then we've got our second stencil, so we'll put the first part of our second stencil down. Again, orient ourselves. These types of stencils have been quite popular. I've never really, this is the only one I have, but I figured they're kind of confusing. I was confused by it, so I figured this might help some people get a grasp on how it works. Now obviously I'd be using a couple colors here to kind of get a little bit of a two-tone and a shading effect, but because I had my stencils were dirty, I still had some color from before. I don't necessarily have to do that. I will this time. I'll grab a little bit of coral. Just to get a little extra variation in there. And then we'll shift that up. Well, this one's a little bit easier because we can see what's not colored, and that's what we're going to be exposing here. So fun. It's so fun. I love it when something clicks. It's like, oh, I didn't know how to use that, but now I do, and now it's beautiful. Just try to, you can tape off the edges if you think you're going to get your blending sponge beyond where you want it to be. But I think if you're careful, you don't really need to. A little bit of that coral there in the center. Give us a little bit of shading. So chic. So chic. Do a little bit of red there too if you want a little bit more in some areas. And then our last one is some, oh, look how pretty. That's so pretty. Okay, the last ones are some greens. Look how quick this is too. Let's see, we're doing the first piece, and this one, you have the whole etched. I don't know if you can see that on camera. Maybe if I tip it just right to light. Can you see there's like little etching marks? It has like the outline of the whole design. I don't know how to explain it, but it helps when you're lining it up. I usually have my head right over it, so I'm standing back because I'm filming, but you can look straight down and it's a little bit easier to see. So now I want to do my light green. This is like what we were using on that first stencil. Now if you mess up and something is lined up perfectly, you can fix it with a marker. I really like the brush, like the real brush pens. Any brand is fine, but I find those work really well. That one's a little easier to line up because you can really see where it's going. Again, I don't have my head right over it. That's usually what I would do. And we'll go with a little bit darker green. Ooh, that might be a little too dark, but whatever. We'll just not put as much on there. Maybe we'll add a little bit of the lighter stuff too. There we go. Okay, so you can see I've got a few little areas there where I wasn't exactly perfect. So what I do in that situation, like for the darker green area, I would take my green ink pad and I would just kind of use it as a palette, just kind of press it down, pick it up with this lighter green marker, and fill it in. Now it's late at night. If I seem kind of low energy, I'm filming this on the day after I dropped my daughter off at the airport for a semester abroad, so I'm probably feeling a little bit melancholy. So don't please. Sorry, I'm not bringing the pep today, but I just like, oh man, you know what? I just want to play in my studio. So you can go in and you can touch things up. Then if I want to touch up any of the yellow area, what I do is just use this kind of yellow marker. Again, I just tried a couple markers till I found one that was close, and just kind of touch up these parts. If I need to touch up something that's a little bit more shaded and I want it to be a little bit more dark, I would just take like this coral ink pad and just press it on my plate. I would pick up ink with that. Then I can go in on areas where I have a little bit darker ink, or maybe I've got some background showing in that I don't want, and I can match it in. If you're doing this on Bristol, like this is just cardstock, but if you're doing it on Bristol, you probably don't need to do that because the marker could just blend what's already there pretty well. But I think that looks really good. Use what you have, guys. And maybe you have another clear printing plate that's like that you could use. Maybe like an old Cricut mat. If you have one of those, that you can clean those mats and make them sticky again. That could work for your stenciling. You know, be creative. Think about what you have and different ways to use it. But then I just took the die cut that came with the kit. So if you're in my watercolor playdate class this spring, dig that out. Have a play with it. It's really fun. I just die cut around it. I just spray painted the background here with my distress spray. And the other stencil that came in this kit, and I think that looks really cute, and I think I'm just going to use that as is and maybe stamp a sentiment. But this isn't really a card assembling class. This is just an idea on how you can use some stuff. Look at that. I mean, so pretty. Maybe that's a bit much. This might be a little bit too much altogether, but I just think it's just a fun way to use stuff we already have. So I hope you found this useful. Thank you so much for watching. Please give me a thumbs up before you go. And until next time, happy crafting. Bye!